Sound is on, light is on, camera. And we are here with our lead project manager, Raymond Kruels. Raymond is here to inspect the site for a dental clinic. And Raymond, what are your thoughts in the beginning? When you look at a vacant site like this that used to be some kind of pizza place, what are your thoughts?
The thoughts are it's just perfect because it's always the best if you don't have any walls built, if you have a vacant space, just the two posts which we cannot change, but for future construction it's a perfect spot.
So there's not a lot of things that are there. The only things you cannot change is these two posts.
Yeah, of course, but you can live with the posts, and you see that we have the possibility to have a suspended ceiling in the future, which is always a plus.
Okay, because so suspended ceiling is something that you like? What for? What's the reason for that?
Because we can run a lot of wiring, a lot of plumbing through that ceiling. And even if we have to do something in the future, we can always go into the ceiling again. And we can hide all that plumbing you see, we can hide.
You can hide that. For the time being, are you having a suspended ceiling?
Yes.
Yes, so
Yeah.
you're going to go with a suspended ceiling?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. What else do you see the features looking for a spot when you're looking at this
We
spot?
have, of course, we have when we see a dead space here under the stairs, that is the perfect spot for a utility room, means for a suction and a compressor. It will make a great utility room. We have to vent it, but it's dead space anyway, so we will make a wall, a soundproof wall, and then we have the perfect utility room.
And what about ventilation for the vacuum or the...
We discussed that, so there is no ventilation in here. We need a ventilation anyway. CSA requires to vent, and the air from the suction system is contaminated, so we need to vent it at all. Over there, on this chimney, you see the vent from the kitchen, which were here in the past, so we can use that to vent.
Let me see. So you're going to pass the ventilation all the way through?
Yeah, the suction system is a powerful motor. It pushes the air out. That's not a problem at all. So you see they put insulation in because this vent, that's the rain shot vent from the old kitchen, and for sure that goes to the outside.
So that will go from the utility room and will vent to the outside?
Yeah.
Great, okay. What other thoughts do you have now looking at the space from a point of view of someone choosing a dental office location that he should be worried about or that you like that looks good?
If you see outside, you see there's a lot of traffic. That's the perfect spot for a dental office because there's a lot of foot traffic. Everybody passing sees that there will be a dental office. So it's a living space around.
And we also have
we have the food court.
Food court.
They can place a sign. Everybody will see that there is a dentist here.
Now, is a food court a positive or a negative for a dental clinic?
A lot of people at one spot is always a plus. So it's really a good spot, and in combination with a reasonable rent, it will make the perfect dental office.
Okay. Now, what concerns do you have for any of the other tenants nearby?
The other tenants?
Yeah, or are you concerned, for example, that this may, is this the ground floor or is something below it that could be an issue?
No, there's the parquet below. We designed the layout in a way that we don't have to drill holes into the concrete.
Okay.
Which is a plus first because it reduces the cost. So the drill hole in the concrete floor is cost expensive. Worst case scenario, you have to x-ray it. Second thing, the hole drilling itself is costly. We will make a layout to avoid any hole drilling.
Okay.
And as long as that is fine with the dentist, I will work on the layout, and I'm pretty sure he will approve that then it will be just fine. What we did in regards to the old layout, we changed the washroom. In that corner you see a drain, and we will use that drain for the staff washroom. The patient washroom will be outside. The mall washroom is close by anyway.
Okay, good. Now, what are some things that you, if you saw them at this stage when someone is choosing a location, are big no-nos? Where you're like, stay away from this area, it's going to cost a fortune to turn it into a dental office.
Okay, there are a few factors. If we would have to do an extensive demolition, that would be a no-go. If we would have to follow certain building requirements, if there would be marble floors in the whole building, and we would need to do that in the dental office too, that would be really costly. As I said, if we would need to drill holes, a lot of holes, so each hole you drill is probably $2,000.
Why is each hole so expensive?
In some concrete floors, there are power lines running, and you don't necessarily see it. To avoid to drill in the power lines, you have to X-ray the concrete floor, and that is expensive because you need a massive X-ray. I would never suggest that. We will develop a layout with cable molds, means we run the air pressure lines and the suction lines through cable molds, so there will be really only a little bit of plumbing required, and that massively reduces the cost.
Okay, and what are the plumbing requirements, the minimum plumbing requirements for this kind of?
Of course, you need to have plumbing for each sink.
Okay.
But as I said, we have a drain there. Worst case scenario for the sinks, which will be over here, we will have a drain pump which actively pumps the water into the drain.
Okay.
And that works. I did that a million times. That's usually just fine.
And on the issue of dry versus wet suction, which way will we go here?
Of course, we will go with a wet suction system. The issue was to have a vent. We have a vent, but even for a wet suction system, it is a must by CSA to have a vent, because the venting air from a wet suction system is contaminated too.
So did you say dry or wet suction here?
We will go with dry suction.
Dry suction.
Yeah.
Right,
No water consumption. We will go with micro switches in the suction hose holders, that the suction system only runs when suction is necessary, so that will massively reduce the costs.
Okay, and approximately per month in water costs, if the landlord is asking the tenant to pay their own water cost, what is the saving in dry versus wet suction? Approximately.
Usually, a wet suction system usually takes 4 liters of drinking water per minute. Then you can calculate, and usually the staff switch the suction on in the morning, switch it off in the evening. It runs all the time, so thousands and thousands of liters over the day, plus times 7 times 12, and then you can calculate how expensive the water is.
So if the tenant has to pay his own water bill, it could be thousands of dollars every month.
Definitely, if you have a high populated area like Toronto, in 3 years you pay more for the water than you pay for the wet suction system.
Wow, interesting. Great. And when we're looking at starting with the bare walls here and turning it into a dental clinic, in terms of the construction costs, from a larger point of view, what percentage of costs will go to what? For example, give me just a percentage so that someone who is building an office could think about this a little bit.
Difficult to calculate, but the ballpark in the Toronto area is around $180 per square foot of built office space.
Okay, 180 per square foot of building.
Yes, that doesn't include the equipment because there are big differences. So, but for the drywalling, for paint, for flooring, you are good with $180.
Okay. Great. All right. And then, if all goes well, what timing should someone expect to turn this location into an open dental clinic, and what are the main barriers to achieving our objectives?
Okay, so the first barrier is to have a building permit.
Building
Usually,
permit, okay.
To get a building permit is 4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks.
You are not allowed to do anything before you have the building permit. Here we have a time frame of 6 months. So it's now beginning of April. He wants to be open middle of September. That's 6 months. That will work for sure.
So Florida's experience to get the building permit. Any issues with the building permit that could occur?
No. Usually, no. I don't see any issue.
After the building permit, what's the next phase?
The next phase, we will, when we have the building permit, we will have approved layout from the dentists. So then we can start getting quotes from the trades. We will apply for the X-ray permit with Health Canada. That are the next steps. And then I would guess 2 to 3 months doing construction and then final install 2 weeks.
Okay. 2 to 3 months construction. Could you divide that up a little bit into the stages?
It depends a little bit. Usually drywalling, first 2-3 weeks is drywalling. They will leave the drywalls open like you see that here. Means one side is closed, one side is open. Then they put electricity, plumbing, whatever is required in the walls. That will be another 2 to 3 weeks. We close the walls and then we will start working on the floors and on the paint.
Okay, and the final install, including screwing in the chairs, putting in the X-ray unit, all those things.
Yes.
And those are around 2 weeks to do?
Yes, 2 weeks maximum. 2 weeks is a reasonable good time for that. Because we have time to test run. I did installs within 3-4 days, but there are some things might come up all the time.
Sure.
So 2 weeks is a reasonable time.
And what about the cabinetry and the IT issues?
The IT guy will parallel work to us, so we will install the equipment. The IT guy will set up the computer network, and especially the X-rays, they require an existing network, otherwise they will not work. So he works parallel, but that is when everything is built and everything is clean. I will not start putting expensive equipment in as long as there's still construction going on. Because then you have stretch marks, something is damaged, nobody is responsible. So when we start, everything is clean and tidy.
You're looking for things to be clean and tidy before you bring in any expensive equipment.
Of course, because you don't want to have concrete crumbs on the floor. You put stuff on it and you have scratch marks. That happens all the time, so that will not happen here.
So what will happen now, between now and the time you get the building permit? What will happen now intellectually on your end?
Okay, I will work on the design, on the layout, first for the treatment rooms, following the information I got from the dentist and following my suggestions. So that will take 4-5 days. Then I will send that to the dentist. He will approve it. Then I will forward it to the contractor and we will step by step. But the operatories are really the first important step because that is where the dentist spends most of his time. And he agreed to a lot of my suggestions, so I will work that into the details and then we go from there. So as soon as this is approved, usually it takes 1 week, 7, 8, 9 days to have the final CAD layout. And that the final AutoCAD plan will also come with a plumbing and an electrical plan, and the contractor builds following that.
Great, thank you, Raymond, for this preview, and we look forward to updating you again as we complete the construction of this dental clinic in the Hamilton Square Mall in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Thank you, Raymond, for being a gracious host, and we look forward to meeting you in the next installment.
It was a pleasure to talk to you.